Hey everyone! I have a quick but really valuable editing trick I want to share with you today. I just placed some standard background footage on my timeline, and now I want to inject some serious personality using a dynamic pop-up text animation. I will walk you through the entire step-by-step process to make sure the text doesn't just appear, but feels perfectly intentional. If you are creating fast-paced content specifically for social media, these quick caption tricks will make your video far more engaging and clickable. First up, select your text tool and click anywhere within the preview window to begin typing out your short message. When writing these on-screen callouts, resist the urge to write paragraphs. Short, punchy, and highly readable phrases always win out. After you finish typing, immediately switch back to the main selection tool so you can grab and reposition the text box freely. For perfect centering, simply hold down the Control key while dragging the text until those helpful alignment guides snap into view. These centering guides are absolute lifesavers when you need super quick and accurate placement for your captions. Next, let's talk about timing, because knowing exactly when and for how long the text is visible is crucial. To set the appearance time, just click and drag the text clip along your main timeline to the exact moment the visual emphasis is needed. The duration it stays on screen is controlled by simply grabbing and dragging the endpoint of that text clip in the timeline. For standard social clips, I generally target a duration between 1.2 and 2.5 seconds, depending on the phrase length. Shorter, punchier statements require less screen time, while complex explanations need slightly more to be absorbed. Now that the placement and timing are set, it is finally time to dive into the actual animation part. Ensure your text clip is selected on the timeline and immediately open up the Effect Controls panel. Move your main playhead right back to the absolute beginning edge of your newly created text layer in the timeline. Expand the text property settings within Effect Controls, and then locate the Transform Properties section. Set the scale property to an exact value of 0 and press Enter so that our starting state is literally nothing. This 0 scale value becomes the foundation for our very first keyframe, so click the little stopwatch icon next to Scale to lock it in. From this starting point, the technique is beautifully rhythmic. Nudge the playhead forward a few frames, then increase the scale slightly. Next, nudge it forward again. Quickly adjust the scale down just a touch, and then finally settle the whole thing at the full 100%. If you are a fan of precise measurements, I generally move forward 5 frames, bump the scale up to 125 for a quick overshoot, and then back it off. I then move 4 more frames forward and set the scale to 95 to create that subtle, appealing bounce-back effect before the final rest. This tiny overshoot and subsequent settle is what makes the pop feel organic and springy, not stiff or robotic. A common pitfall that trips up many editors is thinking the anchor point is the issue when text seems to grow from a corner, but it's actually the scale origin. With the selection tool active, click your text in the preview window to reveal that small circle, which represents the transform origin point. Drag that anchor circle directly to the dead center of your text block to ensure the animation radiates properly. If you need absolutely pixel-perfect placement of that origin, just hold the Control key while dragging to engage the alignment guides again. Now, when you play back the scale animation, it expands beautifully and cleanly right from the middle, which looks so much better. Here is a quick pro tip regarding timing. These frame counts I mentioned assume a standard 24 or 30 frames per second timeline. If you are working on a higher 60 frames per second timeline, you will need to simply double those frame counts to achieve the identical visual feel. Ultimately, the perceived speed of the motion is what truly matters, not the literal frame count number itself. This basic pop-up effect is already very strong, but we can push it further for a more polished, professional look with a few additions. Try adding a slight rotation along with the scale change so the text actually spins in a bit as it pops open for extra dynamism. Alternatively, you can animate the opacity from 0 to 100 concurrently with the scale, which creates a much softer and more appealing reveal. You must also apply easing to your keyframes. Right-click them and select Easy Ease so the motion accelerates and decelerates naturally. Using the graph editor allows you to tweak those Bezier handles for a custom motion curve that perfectly matches your desired pacing. Finally, enabling motion blur on your export settings helps sell the speed of the movement, provided your final output supports that feature. If you find yourself applying this same animation across numerous different clips, you should seriously consider nesting sequences. Once you have the perfect text nest, just copy and paste it onto every other clip, then only adjust the text content and timing as necessary. This nesting strategy saves you an incredible amount of time when you are striving for a totally consistent visual brand across an entire video series. Shifting gears to aesthetics for a moment, never underestimate the impact that your font choice has on viewer comprehension. For those high-impact social hooks, always opt for bold, high-contrast fonts that are instantly legible on a small screen. Ensure any stroke or drop shadow you add remains subtle, because you need the text to read clearly, regardless of the background footage underneath. Your color palette must definitely pop off the screen, but it absolutely needs to remain within your established brand guidelines. Regarding size, you should always preview your final look within the actual dimensions of a standard phone frame, because that's where most eyes will see it. Let's quickly cover troubleshooting. If your text appears jittery during the scale animation, check if you accidentally keyed the position property. Also be aware that nested text layers can sometimes inherit unwanted transforms from their parent sequences, so try a right-click and reset transforms if things look strange. Okay, now I want to switch gears and talk about the upstream workflow for finding these perfect moments to highlight. I want to explain how I actually find the precise spot to place these pop-up texts without manually scrubbing through hours of raw footage. My secret weapon for this is using an AI tool called Vizard to handle the initial heavy lifting. Instead of you manually searching through a 3-hour stream, Vizard automatically edits the long video and isolates all the genuinely viral-ready clips. This means I receive short, pre-trimmed clips already containing the punchiest moments that inherently deserve a sharp pop-up caption. I then simply drop those ready-made clips into my editor and apply the precise text pop animation we have been discussing. The advantage here is that timing the pop is everything. You want it emphasizing a laugh, a major reveal, or a truly strong one-liner. Because Vizard's AI is trained to spot these emotional and conversational markers, you absolutely never miss the optimal sweet spot for your text. After the AI extracts these clips, I often go in and make minor timing tweaks, maybe shifting the text 0.2 seconds earlier to nail the exact syllable. That fractional second of adjustment is exponentially faster than manually hunting down those key audio-visual moments yourself. Another massive benefit of integrating Vizard into my process is the enhanced scheduling and overall content consistency. Once I have a solid batch of clips, I feed them directly into a content calendar to auto-schedule them across all my different social platforms. I simply set the desired posting frequency, and the tool handles the distribution, so I never have to remember to post daily. Contrast this with the traditional workflow: exporting files, manually uploading to every platform, setting unique times, and maintaining messy spreadsheets. It's a true headache. Some competitors offer auto-clipping, but they often lock crucial scheduling features behind an unreasonably expensive premium plan. Others might auto-clip, but then force you to use entirely separate, disconnected applications to handle the actual scheduling. Vizard intelligently keeps these necessary parts unified, which is perfect for creators aiming to scale their output without becoming a full-time social media manager. That being said, if you deeply prefer having absolute creative command, and you live in tools like Premiere or Final Cut, you will still adore making these text animations yourself. You absolutely should continue to handle the artistic details, because tools like Vizard are not meant to replace your creative judgment. Their sole purpose is to efficiently speed up the tedious, repetitive grunt work involved in content discovery and publishing. For instance, Vizard can hand you 50 high-potential candidate clips from just 2 hours of raw footage, instantly. You then simply select the best 6 of those, apply your signature pop animation, adjust the colors, and you have an entire week's worth of shorts done by one afternoon. Now for a few final pieces of hard-earned real-world advice. Please do not over-animate your text elements. Too many distracting effects will invariably make your core message look noisy and completely obscure what you are trying to say. Keep the pop action fast, ensure it is easily readable, and always maintain a consistent style that matches your established brand voice. Use that powerful overshoot and settle trick we covered, but deploy it sparingly, because it quickly loses its impact if every single thing bounces. If channel growth is your primary goal, understand that consistent posting cadence beats out the most perfectly designed motion graphics almost every time. That is precisely why I advocate combining a few minutes of intentional, high-quality editing, like this text pop, with an automated backend that finds and schedules everything. This hybrid approach ensures you achieve both high creative quality and massive publishing scale simultaneously. Alright, that officially wraps up this specific tutorial for today. To quickly recap the editing steps. First, add your text, then position it using the selection tool for accuracy. Remember to center the anchor point if you want the scale animation to originate perfectly from the middle of the graphic. Keyframe the scale starting at 0, then execute the small overshoot to 125, settle it back to 95, and finally end cleanly at 100%. Make sure you tweak those frame counts based on your timeline's frame rate, and always add easing and motion blur for that professional finish. And critically, utilize an automation tool like Vizard earlier in your pipeline to identify the exact moments that truly earn that special pop-up treatment. Thank you so much for watching this walkthrough. I highly encourage you to go try this springy pop effect out immediately. If you create something really cool using these steps, please tag me in your edits so I can see your fantastic results. I will catch you all in the next video tutorial, so happy editing.